Javiites, we're back once again to talk Emmys. Of course, what else do we have to talk about? It's Emmy season. The big High Holy Night is upon us soon. I'm here with just, the A team as usual, Charlie Bright and Matt Noble and Tony Ruiz. And I'm Rob Licuria. We're here to talk about the drama categories. They're the ones that a lot of people seem to really care about year in and year out. It's where so much of the cream of the crop of the television landscape is. And I want to get straight into it, guys. And with drama series, this is a really interesting category because I think they're all wonderful. I'm really, really impressed with this category. Stranger Things, Ozark, Yellow Jackets, Euphoria, Better Call Saul, Squid Game, Severance, and Succession. I just feel like with the amount of nominations Succession was able to get, particularly from the acting branch, that I just feel like you can make an argument for Severance or Squid Game or Better Call Saul, but I feel like Succession is going to win again. I'm curious what you all think. Who would like to go? How about you, Charlie? What do you think? Who's going to win? What's going to win drama series and why?
So this is going to be something that I do that I've been doing with a lot of categories recently. With my initial prediction, I would be taking more of be making more an unorthodox pick, but now I'm reverting back to what's thought of as the front runner. I had Severance initially winning drama series, but I've switched to Succession because I think usually where if you have a plethora of options, it feels like a lot of times they'll just default to something. And I feel like Succession, this is going to be one of those things where it defaults to Succession.
Yeah. Matt, what about you?
Look, Succession, it so of nominations, it won for its last season. I think it's like your safe money is on Succession. I think Severance is a show that got buzz, that got conversation, that really seems special when it was airing. And I think particularly like even just a couple of the interviews I did with people over Emmy campaign that weren't connected with Severance, that said they had just finished Severance. That's really good and stuff. So I feel like that is a show that is on the industry radar enough where I think it poses a substantial threat. We had Better Call Saul, which is the overdue nominee. No drama series has been nominated 6 times in this category without at some point going on to win, other than St. Elsewhere. So that we know is a consistent favorite with voters, and it was airing one of the most critically hailed final seasons of a show as voting was happening. So that's sort of a very unknown quantity because the ground may have moved after nominations came out in direction of that show. And I think like maybe don't sleep on Squid Game because it is such a different show to the others nominated. And, 6 months ago, there was substantial buzz behind it. And maybe sometimes Emmy voters' memories is a little longer than ours. I remember Homeland's first win. Where we'd sort of moved on from it a bit and thought, oh no, it's time passed. If only it was earlier, and then went on to win. I think I'd put Succession as a sort of comfortable sort of front runner, with Severance and Better Call Saul the most likely to cause drama.
Tony?
Yeah, I have Succession. I ironically don't have it winning many other things. But I do think there's enough broad support for it to win drama series, although I have Squid Game in second and Severance in third.
Mm-hmm. If this was 6 months ago, as Matt said, I would have maybe said, I think Squid Game's going to take this out. I just think it really was the show of the moment. It has cooled a little, only because it's in the rear vision mirror. And I totally agree. Severance is the show that is probably most primed to take this out if Succession is not going to be the winner. And I hope Emmy voters don't forget Better Call Saul next year, because I know by then it'll be a distant memory. But that final season that just finished streaming or airing, depending on where you see it, was phenomenal, and better than I think the pre-final season that's nominated now. So we'll see what happens. We should move on though. here's another category where most people are predicting the same person in drama actress, and we have no Severance here, which is slightly telling. It's the one category that they couldn't get Britt Lauer.
Criminal.
And we have no Succession. So I'm feeling that Zendaya is going to win Emmy #2, particularly if anyone can remember the episode that she submitted. Not that tapes matter anymore, but that episode is still reverberating through my brain. When I saw it, I've seen it twice, and I just cannot believe how brilliant she is in that show. Our experts actually believe that it's a much tighter race between her and Melanie Linsky. And I also think Laura Linney,
really?
yeah, Laura Linney also could be a factor because she is always wonderful. And so this one's a tough one still. I don't think it's a complete lock, but I'm going with Zendaya. Tony, where are you at the moment with drama actress?
Yeah, I don't believe that it's that close. I really don't. I don't understand. I mean, and this is coming from somebody who actually loves Yellow Jackets even more than Euphoria. But Zendaya, to me, she managed to win the last time. The last time that she was there, it was her against Laura Linney, and a lot of us had Laura Linney winning. And Zendaya won when the show was not really big on people's radar. It catapulted in nominations. Zendaya herself individually has 4 nominations.
Yeah.
And she has that performance that is one of those performances that I don't care if the tapes matter or not, everybody remembers that episode. And I just think, I don't think this is close. I think Zendaya is winning this. I do have Linsky in second, and I have Laura Linney in third. But my feeling is that, Laura Linney had one of the great submissions the last go round with the Fire Pink episode of Ozark. And if Zendaya managed to beat her that year, I just don't think that this submission, which I believe is somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I believe, is it nominated elsewhere?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't see a path where Zendaya loses this.
Okay, Matt, what do you think?
Oh, like Linney's got to be second. I don't know. I guess Linsky could win. There was a lot of for her in that performance, but look, Zendaya. Euphoria is not my favorite show. Maybe I'm not the demographic for it. It doesn't appeal to my sensibilities. Just to be honest, Zendaya's unreal in that episode. That is so. It stays with you. It lingers. Like if you've seen it, like that's just was one of the most uncomfortable, like heart-wrenching things I've seen on TV. And she knocks it out of the park in a big way. I think if this was on episode submissions alone, she wins easily. I'm not sure if it will be on episode alone. As we said, Laura Linney had a powerhouse tape, a year ago and wasn't able to win with it. And even when there was more emphasis placed on the tapes, we've seen people like John Hamm lose with the suitcase and things like that before. So I do think it's the last season of Ozark that has been a consistent Emmy contender. Every season, it's had surprise win. Particularly Jason Bateman for directing a couple of years ago. So we do know there's a lot of industry Emmy love for this show, and it's the last chance to reward Laura Linney for it. I think we could and she's great in the final season of the show too. I think that's what you need to look out for. I actually think it's pretty close between her and Zendaya. At the moment, I give the edge to Zendaya, but I don't know where I'll be in a couple of weeks' time.
What about you, Charlie?
I'm the same as Tony. I got Zendaya at number 1. I think the way that Euphoria just exploded with nominations this year in a way that I was not prepared for was really telling. And I think that she's because it's more, and I think Zendaya also benefits from it being more populist now. And I will concede it's probably close, but I do think Zendaya is pretty safe in this one.
Yeah. I want to move over to drama actor because it's the category that gives me the most agito, and it's probably the strongest category of the night. Again, it just seems to be drama actor is the one where you're just getting these powerhouses. I just want to take you through my rationale, right or wrong. This is how I've come to grips with it. Okay, so, and I don't care. People think vote splitting is a myth. I don't. I'm one of the people that think it when it happens, it happens. When it doesn't, it doesn't. As we said earlier, I think Brian Cox and Jeremy Strong will get a lot of the succession vote and therefore probably won't get a plurality. So I've taken them out in my head. And then I've thought, I know a lot of people, particularly our colleagues, believe that Bob Odenkirk is hitting just at the right time. And we've just seen that final season and he will win because of that. I don't agree. I'm just so blown away by him. I just feel like maybe next year. I don't know if he can do it this time. He wasn't even nominated last time. So I'm just like, I've decided to take him out because I kind of have to. Then I've got Adam Scott, Jason Bateman, Lee Jung-jae. Jason Bateman, we can't sleep on him. He is phenomenal, popular, one directing, has one SAG, and I still can't get his performance out of my head from Ozark. I just thought he was the best thing about that show, even with Julia Garner. So then I've got, okay, maybe it's Jason Bateman. Then I've got Adam Scott. Wow, what a performance. What an absolute knockout. Can't believe how good he was in that. And if they love Severance, he's going to get a lot of votes. And then finally, Lee Jung-jae. Like, to me, he's like the breakout star of the whole season and is so phenomenal in Squid Game. And I think that's where a lot of the Squid Game vote will go. And on that basis, I've decided it's super, super razor thin, close, but I'm going with Lee Jung-jae. It hurts my brain. I'm not satisfied with that rationale, but that's what I'm going with. So I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about this category, because I just think you could throw them all up in the air and whatever hits the ground first will win. That's how close it's going to be. What do you think? Go, Charlie.
Interestingly enough, the contender that I actually feel the most certain we don't have to worry about is actually previous winner Jeremy Strong.
Yeah.
And I kind of have, although I do have Bateman in last place, but I do think that those other four, Cox, Lee Jung-jae, Odenkirk, and Scott, very close, and this could go almost any way. I do have Brian Cox in the lead right now. I think a lot of people are sleeping on his chances in this category, but it's really tough between him, Lee Jung-jae, and Bob Odenkirk. And Adam Scott. It's just really, it's just very tough. And it's one that I could make thousands of reasons to go with various of those people for 7 hours, but we don't have that time. So I'm just going to keep it. I'm just going to keep with Cox right now, but expect it to change probably at some point.
All right. What about you, Tony?
I'm going with Odenkirk. I think that the factors going into, since tapes are no longer the measurement, then we have to look at who will be in the top of voters' minds when they fill out those ballots and what was happening. It was so perfect, the synergy that happened of these last episodes where Odenkirk is giving arguably the performance of the year for next year.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I will remind you, Breaking Bad won its first series Emmy when most people agree that the season that it won for was probably not its strongest, but at the time of Emmy voting, Breaking Bad won for a group of episodes that were arguably all-time classics. Odenkirk is giving the performance of his life. The finale aired basically right as voting was in its peak. And what does he have in that finale? He has, and I know that that's not what he's nominated for. It doesn't matter. On top of that, you know what narrative came all along with that? Was Odenkirk's heart attack. And everybody rallied around him like in an unbelievable fashion. I don't know that Better Call Saul has the legs that Breaking Bad had in terms of going a year on and then honoring it. I just feel like there are so many factors that push to Odenkirk. I'm not saying it's a safe. I'm not saying it's a strong bet. I have Lee Jung-jae in second. but I think that the confluence of events could benefit Odenkirk. It just feels to me he has been everywhere. At every award show, he was at HCA. He charmed the hell out of everybody. He, the heart attack narrative is out in the press, and he's talking about it during voting. And the finale, the last few episodes, and I am not a Better Call Saul fan, but the last 4 episodes of Better Call Saul were some of the finest television I've seen. And I don't mind. And I don't know that that narrative can be broken.
Well, you want to talk about Better Call Saul fans? We've got one right here. Matt, what do you think?
Look, I think you had a very good summary, Rob, where this is a razor thin race and you can't really discount anyone from it, right? Which is sort of why I think it's hard to pick one of the Succession guys for me, because I could be right that vote splitting is not a factor and get the wrong Succession guy anyway. So like, it's sort of just like, it is a bit, because even though I think Cox is in front of the two, Jeremy Strong won last time. So like, Emmy voters might just prefer that performance and character. So that's the tricky thing for me, is just, it means also it's going to be razor thin. You're going to need less votes to win this category than probably most other categories, because I think each of the 5 contenders is going to get a chunk of votes. We've seen Jason Bateman surprise in directing. Maybe he'll do the same in acting, but I sort of am discounting him a bit. Before the final episodes of Better Call Saul aired, I really thought this was Adam Scott's. I just think that is the kind of performance that a lot of actors would really respect. Getting to play 2 characters that are the same but different at the same time, and the nuances between those two, I think something that actors would really appreciate. And then we have Bob Odenkirk in those last episodes. That season final is one of the great lead actor performances of all time in a show. Like, he does everything in that. He plays multiple characters. He's playing characters that are different. And
I was going to say, he plays 2 guys really,
in a single scene.
Yeah. So it's just so fantastic. I think, I'm going to go with my heart on this and go with Bob Odenkirk. There's a good chance I'll be wrong, because I think, if you had to pick any one nominee or the board, the other nominees, whoever you picked, you'd want the board, you'd want the other contenders, because I think it's going to be on a plurality rather than a majority. But boy, and look, if you want this show to have legs for next year's Emmys, probably the best thing it needs to do is have a big win here to something to build off of for next year's. I think this is a great time for Bob to do it. It's a divided field. There's no clear front runner, and he had the right episode at the right time, and just all the press was how great this final has been. And
everybody wants to give him a hug. Everybody wants to give Bob Odenkirk a hug.
But don't surprise him. For the love of God, don't surprise him.
No, please don't sneak up on him.
Just, take it easy. I'll be happy with whoever wins here. I don't care if I'm wrong, because they're all just, I don't feel as passionately about film these days as I do about stuff like this. Those performances just have stayed with me. So congrats, guys, for being even nominated in such a ridiculously crowded field. There could have been another 15 nominees. Let's move to supporting. Let's do both at the same time. I think Garner's going to win, and I think she may have some competition from Ho-yeon and Patricia Arquette. Even Sarah Snook. So that one's a killer as well. Rhea Seehorn finally got nominated. I just don't see that happening. And then drama supporting actor, it's very tough. Hang on, I'll ask. In drama supporting actor, I think it's tough because there's so many there's 2 Squid Games and more than 1 Succession. But I feel like that's probably going to be Kieran Culkin. I just have a feeling that it's his turn. Okay, so who would like to take over? What do you think about the supporting categories? Not easy.
So this one, I'm find myself having to do a bit of math here, because I find myself relying on okay, if someone was able to get into the SAG categories, because remember, there are no supporting categories at SAG, it's usually a good indicator. That's what made me so confident. That's why so many of us were so confident that Julia Garner was going to win her first Emmy back in 2019. And not only did Jung-Ho-yeon get nominated for Squid Game, she won the category.
Yeah.
She won the category. So I think it's very close between her and Garner. And let's not forget Patricia Arquette. Patricia Arquette is in there having, getting to play this, batshit villain that I absolutely loved. It's very tough. Right now I have Jung-Ho-yeon, but again, this is one that it could go back to the default, which is Garner, and I'm probably going to be going through that in my mind for the next 2 weeks. In supporting actor, I initially had Young-soo as my predicted winner because he is so good in Squid Game, and I was a long holdout on Squid Game, and I finally watched it. And dear God, his performance is so good. Of course, the episode he submitted, Gambu, is just the Marvels episode is one that just, it tears your heart in two. But again, going back to SAG, 3 Succession guys got nominated for Best Actor, Drama Actor at SAG: Cox and Strong and Culkin. And that's why I think I am defaulting to Culkin. But it's, this is one where honestly I could see almost, I think there's a realistic shot for any one of those people to possibly win. We could get one where it's a winner where we go, oh wow, I'm so happy that person won, or one that just makes us go, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
I don't sleep on Totoro or Walken either. And
No.
Crudup's a proven winner in this category. So yeah.
Matt.
Yeah, I think I'll start with supporting actress. I think there's a 4 or 5 horse race supporting actress. It's wild. Look, at the moment I've actually got Patricia Arquette for Severance. But like all the reasons we said for Bob Odenkirk are reasons for Ray Seahorn as well, because Ray was so good in the second last episode, which was actually at the very beginning of Emmy voting. So it's actually a greater window off the back of her powerhouse performance, and actually the episode where she breaks up with Jimmy is just as good for her, maybe less But so I think she had some great stuff, and there seems to be a lot of sentiment and love for her, and a lot of like momentum built off the back of the first nomination. A lot of people are like, "Oh, it's a first nomination! Finally, she's gotten in." I also would not sleep on Sarah Snook. We could see a Succession sweep. We could see Succession just pick up all the awards, or a lot of the awards it's nominated for, especially in a world where tapes are less of a factor. I'm not saying Sarah Snook's great. She gives a great performance. She's great in a tape, but it's a bit more of an understated performance than the type we usually saw win historically under a tape system. But yeah, I think it's Arquette, Seahorn, Garner, and Snook, I think are the 4 that will probably come to. And yeah, I'm probably sleeping on Jung-Ho-yeon as well, because there were some good points made about her. I just wonder if Squid Game won't be as fresh in the memory of voters. At the moment, I've got Arquette, but I'm actually tempted to change to Seahorn.
Oh, I'd love to see that though, to be honest. All right, Tony, you get the final say on the supportings. These are tough.
Yes, it is tough. I have Garner in first. She has one of those performances that Emmy voters just seem to love. We don't get repeat winners in supporting actress, a lot. And she'll be the first person to win 3 since Ellen Corby for the Waltons. And she has that just monumental scene that has been memed to death, where she screams that you're going to have to fucking kill me. I mean, it's just batshit crazy. But I do think I have Seahorn in second, and I'm tempted to put her to first. I have Jung-Ho-yeon after that. I think Arquette could win too. I think the top 4 are minimal distance between them. I'm going kind of on a limb in supporting actor. I'm actually predicting somebody from Succession, but I'm actually going with Matthew McFadden. because at the end of this season of Succession, the season that everybody gave all these nominations to, what was everybody talking about? Everybody was talking about Tom. Everybody was talking about, what, did Tom do that? Tom did this. Oh my God, Tom. I mean, it
also
it's-
made
And that was just,
and it made you go back and reflect on and want to go back and rewatch his scenes from the episodes previously, because you wanted to see, were there any clues?
right. And so I think that of the Succession guys, he's actually the standout. I have Young-soo in second, but I do have Kieran in third. I don't think, and I can be tempted to change, but there's just this, when you move away from the tape system, narrative matters, and who is on the top of everybody's mind. And really the character that was on the top of everybody's mind after this season of Succession was Tom.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I do think, just because I didn't weigh in on supporting actor, I think like Matthew McFadden, I think was the best over the course of the season, to be honest, and I'd be very tempted to vote for if I was in this category. I don't think he submitted his best episode. I feel like he had a great one where he was having to decide what side to go on, and I just think that was unreal. Please correct me if that is the episode he submitted. But I thought going into that category, I had my mind made up with where I was going with this, and it sort of, the Emmy screwed me over a bit, because I thought, Succession guys will split the vote and Young-soo will end up winning for Squid Game. And then they nominate two guys from Squid Game. So he's not the only guy from that show. He's still in my front runner position, but I actually have him number 2, John Turturro, because I think he is so good in Severance. I feel like between him and Christopher Walken, he is the one with the great performance. And I've Kieran Culkin in third.
I have Turturro in third, actually. So I'm right there.
Yeah, same. I could see all of that happening, and like even Rhea Seehorn, like she's never been nominated because of various factors like Game of Thrones and whatever. She's finally there, and people will see that and be like, okay, let's give her the award. You know what I mean? Like they've never had a chance to give her the award. Now they do. And Young-soo and Park Hae-soo will never really have a chance again for this show, for obvious reasons, particularly Young-soo, who was the more memorable character, I guess, for many people, not for me necessarily. So yeah, there's a lot to chew in those two categories. It's really tough. In the directing and writing, we've really got to hurry on these two. I don't think Succession is going to win either of them. I think writing will be Severance, and I think Squid Game will win directing. Charlie, what do you think?
I have the exact same lineup right now. However, it's going to be very tough. I have Severance in second in directing, and I have Succession in second in writing. But I also have Succession third in directing, because remember, there were multiple episodes of Succession nominated in the directing category last time around, and one that that was not on our radar ended up winning. So
that killed me.
Yeah, no, it killed me too. So, I mean, anything is possible on this.
Matt?
Yeah, I have Squid Game for drama directing, and this could be foolish of me because I think some people might just vote on the season as a whole, but Severance is nominated for the final, I believe, which was a fantastic episode, like so good, and maybe their best. But I feel like I'd be picking Severance if it was the pilot, where they introduced the whole visual, like the whole visual part of that world and that Lumen company. A lot of the final takes place outside of Lumen and outside of that, just so like those white walls and sets and stuff. And I feel like it was that one. I'd definitely be predicting it, but I'm going with the pilot of Squid Game just because of those distinct colors and visual sort of stuff. But
and it says red light, green light, like and people remember that. Like it just seems. But let's not sleep on Yellow Jackets in directing. I think Yellow Jackets could be a spoiler.
They love their pilots.
Yeah,
and don't sleep on Bateman, right, for Ozark
again. Yeah,
he surprised you before.
There's a lot of sleeping that we're doing on people, and I apologize that we're sleeping on you, but yeah. Tony, final say.
They're yelling at me to get off of them.
Yeah, me too.
I have Squid Game winning directing, and I actually do have Succession winning writing.
Yeah.
This is a show that is built on its writing, and thankfully they only have this one episode contending in writing. So I think that
helps.
I think that helps them win.
Big time.
Well, we might leave it there, guys. Thank you so much, everyone. Stick with Gold Derby for more Emmy coverage as usual. Make your predictions, and we've got another slugfest coming up for the comedy categories.